Legendary musician and international jazz icon Jonathan Butler has told young people in Bloemfontein that show business is a journey of endurance that requires discipline. So Butler says young musicians should be ready to seek out opportunities despite the challenges. Well, he gave a masterclass to a packed hall at one of the primary schools there in Heidedal in Bloemfontein. SABC News reporter Kamogelo Seekoei is joining us now. Kamogelo, that must have been quite a treat, having Jonathan Butler, talking to young people. I've always admired his great music skills. I've loved his music, absolutely. So to hear him speak to young people about discipline, in particular in something like show business, must have been quite great, quite a treat, wasn't it?
Griselda, it was indeed a treat just listening to him. I mean, he was talking to young musicians and aspiring musicians, right? But every person that was in that audience at the Heide Primary School who is involved in anything in their lives really appreciated his talk, because he was not just talking about how to go about in the music industry, but he was essentially bearing it all, about his life, what he has been through, and how, people can actually navigate some of the challenges that come with for example, being in show business, but in general, just the setbacks that one might face when you are doing this life thing. He spoke so openly about his experiences growing up in a poor family. He started off by essentially sharing his life from the beginning, talking about how he started singing at the age of 5, and when he started school at the age of 7, his mom not having enough money to buy him school uniform, and afterwards when we spoke to him, he said it is important for him to be so open, because he wants people to realize that they are not alone. And if you are coming from a poor family and you look at someone who is an international icon, that you must not think that it cannot be you. So he started his talk by just sharing those formative years when he started school and when his mom put him on the stage at the age of 7, because they had already spotted his talent at the time. He was already singing, so his mother put him on the stage so that he could be able to earn money for the family. He actually did share also that he was the youngest of 12 children, so you can just imagine that his whole entire family depended on his income as a 7-year-old. He also shared a very painful experience around the time that he was also a teenager, traveling the country, going to all the colored areas. During apartheid, they needed to be they were segregated and needed permission to perform in other areas. But when it comes to colored areas, they would just go. And he shared an experience about how he was molested right here in Bloemfontein, in Heidedal, where he was actually giving the talk yesterday. And he even said that he wants to go back to that stadium or that field where that experience happened way back when he was still a teenager, just to confront the demon that actually forced him to live in pain and distrust. He was so open. It was just so fascinating to listen to someone giving a masterclass about show business, but essentially just talking openly about his life and how he was able to overcome the challenges. He spoke about being involved in drugs, that he was a slave to drugs, and he even had to perform for drug lords just to be high, when he didn't have the money to buy those drugs. But one thing about Jonathan Butler that just stood out yesterday is his love for the Lord and his faith in the Lord. And he speaks so frankly about the fact that his life changed when he accepted the Lord in his life, and that is when the game changed for him. And he's just so frank, so open, so open about his life. He started strumming, which is one of the most beautiful things that you can experience, I guess, when you are in his presence, because he's like a renowned guitarist. And he was just telling the young ones that if you are a musician, you have to put yourself out there. You have to showcase your talent. You have to take every opportunity. Don't shy away. If you are in large groups, make sure that you raise your hand, you volunteer to perform for free. Put your name out there, put yourself out there, and make sure that people know about you. You know, I even asked him a question about Bloemfontein not really being a place where show business or people who are in the music industry can be able to thrive. And he says, you know, sometimes people don't want to go out of their comfort zone. It is good to seek out opportunities where you are born. But for example, with him, he was born in Cape Town, but he moved around. He even lived in Johannesburg because he was so hungry and eager to get his career in the music industry going. So his advice to young people is that when you are in a space or area where you can see that your talent is not that much recognized, move around, move to Johannesburg, for example, as a musician, because the industry is thriving over there. Move to the Western Cape, move to Cape Town, move to Durban, move to any area where you know that your talent will be seen, will be appreciated, and that you can be able to make it in that particular industry. So his talk yesterday was really empowering for young people. We spoke to a few of them just to see what nuggets, you know, they took from him, and they did say that the fact that he even played the guitar, you know, he played the guitar on E. I do not know anything about strings or anything, but he was just saying to them, the more you play, the better you become. The more you practice, the better you become. And he was really just encouraging them to make sure that if they play any instrument, that they play the instrument, whether they are preparing for a performance or just at home, you know, they should just play that instrument. And he really also spoke to the adults about creating a conducive environment for young children who want to go into the entertainment industry, saying that a lot of us do not really appreciate that industry, and most of the time, even especially in the colored area, he says that you'll hear parents saying music or the music industry is something that does not last, so it's better if you just go look for a job at a retail store, because that one, you know that you will have the job for life. But he's saying that parents should just start changing their mindset regarding show business and regarding what the entertainment industry is, and just support their children. I liked what he said and what he kept on emphasizing to his audience yesterday, which is small things done will lead to perfection. So every time that you do that thing, that small step that you take towards your career, towards wanting to know something, that you should just keep on doing it. It doesn't matter how small a step you take, but you should just keep on doing it, and you will become perfect at it. Griselda?
I really didn't want to stop you there, because I could tell how passionate you are about what took place yesterday. I just let you speak because you spoke so beautifully about what happened yesterday, and it's wonderful because I think in areas such as, fortunately, I do have an idea of the area that you're speaking to have someone as the likes of Jonathan Butler in that area and speaking about so many things, challenges that people in that area go through every day, and to hear it for someone who has made it, as a fantastic musician, must have been indeed quite a treat, as you indicate. Thank you very much, Kamogelo. I'm sure you really, really enjoyed that. It would have been quite great if I was out there as well. Thank you so much for making time to speak to us here on the show. Kamogelo Seekoei talking to us a bit about Jonathan Butler, the great Jonathan Butler, who was out in Bloemfontein yesterday. A masterclass speaking to young people about an array of issues, drugs, as at the time that he is a musician, and a host of, challenges, how young people can navigate through some of these things. So thanks very much indeed to our colleagues.